Hey, if you made your way to this video, then you're looking to learn a little bit more about the top three things that make a massive difference. And these are huge mistakes in athlete speed training. I'm going to make this training for you very short, very applicable. I've got my whiteboard out, so we're going to have some fun. We're going to draw and make some real sense of this because I understand it. I coach athletes all over the world, and these are the biggest mistakes that they make. So the first one is actually spending less time in the gym. And I want to just gently just show you something, a real simple diagram that'll explain this for you, okay? So speed, speed training is a skill in itself, okay? It's complicated. It can be. It is complicated for certain elements of it, and it takes a lot of time to develop. And this is all very true. But what we do conventionally is that we think that getting strong will make us fast, and whilst that does, there is a rate of transfer for that. It actually makes us slower in the end. So I'll just show you this simple graph here, okay? Hopefully you would have seen an inverted U before, where in this area down here, this is where getting stronger will make you fast. But then what will happen is actually your speed in relation to that, if you keep trying to get stronger to improve your speed is just going to decline. Okay. And the reason being is because you've exhausted that rate of adaptation and that early adaptation that you can get. So as you move here further up, what we need to do is start manipulating these windows of intensity and adaptation. But unfortunately, most of you just spend all this time down here. So we don't want to do that. And I'm going to show you exactly why. And in this diagram here, okay, spending less time in the gym allows you to maximize this opportunity here. So this curved line here is the rate of which you learn new skills. This line here is the entry level of preparedness. So for example, and in the speed team sport sprinter world, this is your strength. So you're really strong, but you're struggling to improve your speed. And that's a huge problem. It's the most common one. And I'm getting a bit tired of it. So that's why I'm doing this video for you. So then you have all this, okay, all this window of opportunity to start developing. And this is where all the easy gains are. So you remember when we talked about this down here, being being strong will make you faster until it stops making you faster. Learning how to put one foot in front of the other in a technical way and a few other tips and tricks that I'm going to show you today, that is exactly the same representation. It's just that you've not been taught this and you've not been shown this and learning how to wrap your coaching program around it. So typically what we end up doing is spending too much time in the gym because that's what we do. So if you were to look at a simple week, and I understand, okay, I understand. Yes, I've worked with athletes that are full time, and I do work with athletes that are full time. But I work with a lot of athletes that are 9 to 5ers or part-time workers trying to make it pro and doing and just trying to be the best that they can be. So you have to understand your weekly distribution. So what you would typically do here is I'm just going to draw some X's, okay? So here you'd probably come in International Bench Day on a Monday, right? Or and then come in here, maybe Tuesday, do your legs. Wednesday off or potentially practice here. Then you're back in Thursday, maybe, or what you do here is you take a little rest day. Then Friday, we've got pump session traditionally. Then Saturday could be your game day, Sunday off. Okay. Now, if that's a typical week for you, sometimes some teams train on a Tuesday and a Thursday night and play Saturday, have Sunday off, depending on what sport you play. But the general gist of it is it doesn't really matter. All right. Now, this is why, and this is what I'm going to tell you. And even if you're off season, okay, over your month, you need to, if you're strong, okay, and arguably if you can bench your body weight. Okay. If you can squat your body weight, maybe a little bit more than your body weight, then you're in a good position. You could do um, 10 chin ups. You're around that entry level where this stuff really starts to become a very useful thing. So over your month, what you want to be doing here, okay, if we take this as week 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're just going to, for argument's sake, we're not going to do this as an in-season model. We're just going to take this as an off-season model, so you've got all the time in the world. Because when it gets to in-season, you basically do the same thing, but you just spread it out. But that's another training for another day. So here, what you do, okay, for example, we need to train the most important things, the most important thing. So week 1, we start with our speed stuff. Okay, whatever our speed session is for that day. Typically, we like to do maximum velocity first, because basically that curve, your max speed, and loads of research has done with this, your max speed, okay, contributes to the rate of acceleration. And we know acceleration, fast acceleration, is really important for team sports. So we tried to develop this first, and that's not about just running as fast as you can. There's a method to this. So here you do your speed stuff on your first day. You do your warm-ups, you do all your extensive drills, and a few other bits and pieces, which I'll get into the next point. Then you're probably going to want to, on that second day, you're going to want to gym, okay, because that's quite tough. And then you're gonna, your second session of the week, and then your third session of the week could be maybe an acceleration based type session. Okay. Then what you do, so you run this system, it's called a rollover system. Okay. So then what you'll do is you'll come back into week 2, and then you'll do your first gym session, maybe full body. Now I'm saying this in an arbitrary, but then you do your speed, and then you roll. Then you will roll into your next gym session. Okay. Then you roll into your acceleration. Okay. Then you roll into your speed. Then you roll into your gym. Okay. And you can see the pattern there. And the reason being is that now over the beginning here, so I'll just finish this just to explain. You've got an acceleration session, then you've got a speed session, and then you've got another gym session. Okay, so here you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 max speed sessions, 1, 2, 3 acceleration sessions, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gym sessions. Okay, and you can even sub out a gym session for an extra acceleration session if you really wanted to. But what you're doing is you're rolling over your stimulus. And all these gym sessions here, all they're doing is complementing and supporting the strength work that are needed and that's missing in here. Because if we already know you've ticked that box, oh, I'm pretty much strong, I'm strong enough in the gym, tick that box, I can hit those base standards. Now it all becomes about these things. It all comes about the speed sessions. So that's why you need to start distributing your week, because you're spending too much time in the gym, wasting hours of opportunity. Okay, so that's that one for you. And so point 2 is learn to master the basic speed drills. And the reason being, okay, well, everyone's talked, you know that plyometrics and jump training and everything are really, really important for you. And they are. But where do you start? Now, the fundamentals of sprinting are these 3 things: RTC, rhythm, timing, and coordination. That is what you need to be focusing on, because if you try and run fast, you will tense up, you will lose rhythm, you will lose timing, and you will lose optimal coordination, and you will slow down. The fastest speeds that people achieve actually are ran at 80% effort. They're not run at 100%. Okay, so when we master the rhythm, timing, and coordination through basic speed drills, then you are in a huge advantage position. Because what I want to do is I want to take you right back to this level of preparedness. This window here is really, really important. And I've said this, that when I trained one of my NFL players, he came back after off season, and we did 2 rounds of the warm up, and then that was the session, because he wasn't in sprint shape. He wasn't in the shape ready enough to start actually using speed work to get faster. We needed to prepare him to get faster. And guess what? he got faster before we even, because we were down here, before we even started using speed training to get faster, we had to prepare for speed training and he got faster. So that means that this window of opportunity for you is huge. So simple stuff, okay? A skips, all right? B skips. I'm just going to write these down for you, and they can be found on my YouTube page. You can find them in my speed progressions manual. They're all there for you, okay? And then you want like high knees, high knees, bum kicks, okay? Some float runs, um, and there's a multitude of what you can do. But if you just literally take those 5 drills and perform 2 to 3 sets times 20 meters of each of them a few times a week, that is going to start to help you. That's going to start to help you because it improves your economy and boosts your running progression. It boosts everything for you, okay? So therein lies your entry into the basic speed drills. And these actually become a discrete means of plyometrics. Because if you imagine for 20 meters of A skips, you're looking at least 20 contacts per leg if you do it at a decent cadence. Okay. That in itself is 20 low level plyometric activities. So just for one rep of those, okay, on low level plyometric activity, that's 40 total contacts. By the time you do 2 sets, that's 80 times that by 5, 8 times 5, it's about 400 contacts, okay, of low cost work, which supports the level of preparation that you are in. Then, hence, building all the specific speed strength properties that you need. So it's such an easy win and such a straightforward way for you to progress and move yourself forward. Okay, now just moving on to the third one. My mouse is being funny there. Don't just sprint aimlessly. All right. I'll ask you this question. Would you go into a gym and stick your 1 rep max on the bar and just do that for an hour? The answer is no. Okay. And if the answer is yes, turn this video off now, please. But you don't want to do that. It's logic because it's so intense. And in terms of the intensity level relative to the most intense things that we can do on the planet, in terms of movement, I'm just going to show you this here, okay? Up the top here is max speed. Somewhere along here is going to be acceleration. Then we have plyometrics, okay? Then we have gym. So if you tell me that you wouldn't do your 1 rep max every time you go into a gym session, why would you try to find these every time you do speed training? It makes no sense. And what it does is it ruins this window of opportunity. So I just want to show you another diagram because this is what happens again. I showed you this inverted U, but I'm just going to blow it out a little bit more. Okay. There is a relationship, okay, in this graph, which is really, really important for you to understand. All right. And it goes something like this. This red line represents the rate of transfer. What that means is the thing that you do actually makes a difference to what you're training for. So we know down the bottom here that our gym stuff, okay, is going to help us get fast until it slowly starts to decline. So we want to use that adaptation, and you're all probably doing it. And you're probably reason why you're probably here is realizing that you're not doing what you should be doing. Okay, so as we move across this line, our stimulus has to change. Okay, and the reason being, if you start maximal sprinting, okay, that's from an intensity point of view, which is what this represents. Just ignore this second half of it for today. But from an intensity point of view, you are, okay, losing the potency of the effective dose. Okay. So everyone in here may have drunk alcohol. It's an easy example. The first time you drank alcohol, you got drunk really, really quickly. Then it started to take a little bit more alcohol to get you drunk. It's a tolerance issue. Okay. So what you need to do is maintain that level of tolerance down here. And that is why when you just hit maximum speed, you're way up on the Richter scale of what you're trying to achieve from an intensity point of view. And you again have missed all this window of opportunity underneath. And so how you do that, okay, how you do that is starting with your basic wall drills. You start with those. There's loads on all my social media. There's a sample session on my social media that will show you this, because what that does is it slowly introduces you, same as the drills and the warm-ups, it slowly introduces you to that type of training intensity. Okay, and there's a couple of ways in which you can actually do this when you're out in the field. So say, for example, you've done your warm up, you've done all your drills, and we know that we're going to look at maximum velocity first, because what we need to do is try and train the highest output. And when we train the highest output, what we don't want to do, okay, if you think this is distance and this is your acceleration, what you don't want to do is tear off like a bat out of hell and then slow down. That doesn't actually achieve us. I'm going to extend this, because what this will only get you to is maybe about 70% of your top speed. And if we're looking here, call this 50 meters for an example, you're only hitting 70% before you come out, because you don't know how to build your speed. So what we want to do is actually slowly turn the volume up of your speed, okay, until we hit that point where we find 80%, and then we come back down. So hopefully you can see the difference. So all you do is just long build-ups, okay? Because when we get to here, what we're doing is, for every step underneath, every step is a rep. Put it that way, every step is a rep. What we're doing is actually, here we've got a low intensity, and then we're slowly building up the intensity of every step until we get to the top end. You know, the same way in a gym, you'd warm up when you do a few at light, and because you would build up your system ready for it. That's exactly what you do with speed. It's progressive overload of intensity during session, which allows for optimal outcome. So every step that you take is an increase in intensity. But what we've done is graded it up nicely to allow you to reach that speed safely. Then over time, you know, for example, week 1, you just want to do 2 reps. Week 3, you want to do 3 reps. Week 4, maybe do 4 reps. See how you feel, because they can be quite taxing. Then drop down to 2 reps. Then maybe do 2 sets of 2 reps. So your total volume is 4 in there, okay, as opposed to 4 off the bat. So you start to distribute your sets in different ways, and that's going to allow you to keep progressive overload. And as we know, as we spoke about, and I told you at the beginning of this, the people that can achieve the fastest max speed accelerate at the highest rate. Okay, in absence of anything else, before we even look at technical change, because we have to learn this area, we really have to learn to accelerate well. That is going to be the thing that allows you to move and improve your speed in the same way. And they're 3 simple tips that you don't need equipment for, but they eradicate all the mistakes that every athlete that I work with makes, and you can do it straight away. Okay, so if that's something that you like, but if you want to learn a little bit more about everything that we do and everything that I do, and even more about this sort of stuff, all I want you to do is go below, book a call with me, 15 minutes, and we'll have a chat, and just to see where everything is, and maybe we can do some work together. Who knows? But I'm inviting you to jump on that call with me, as I'd love to. And we have the opportunities to join the Virtual Performance Center and all the different things around it. But if not, I really hope that's helped you. And if it has, just let someone else you know, because my mission is to develop a new generation of team sports sprinters, and that starts with you. So thank you very much. I really appreciate your time watching this.